from bondage. Okay, so in this sutra, Ashtavakra completely expresses whatever you want to say. Usually, see, whatever we need to explain things, intelligence is needed, he said. To understand this deeper truth, you need intelligence. You need, because a lot of time, the truth, you need to have the discernment, ability to understand the deeper truth that is, beyond the logic. Okay, so next slide. So last week we had a very powerful unclutching session. In today's session, he opened up the next layer of truth. The fourth sutra, he said, you are beyond societal conditioning. Okay, so he says, you do not belong to the Brahmana or any other caste or any ashrama. You're not visible to the eyes. Okay, we're going to break down every sentence that he's making. Okay, first he tells you don't belong to any of the societal conditioning. It means the groupings at the society at that time, they are being structured. And then he said, you're not visible to the eyes. That means what? Your energy, right? And unattached, that means unclutched, formless, and witness of all are you, be blissful. Okay? So this is actually, he's summarizing the essence of consciousness. Okay? He says to Janaka, who asked for the truth, you're not a Brahmana. As you know that in the Vedic tradition, there are four categories, right, of the Varna, right? Brahmana, there's Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. We're going to go through that later. He said, you don't belong to the Brahmana or any caste or to any ashrama. You're not visible to the eyes, unattached, formless, witness of all, be happy. Okay, so let's go through what he means by this different Varna. Next slide. So he tells Janaka that he does not belong to any community, any dharma or any ashrama. He says he does not belong to any of this Varna, ashrama, dharma, which is at that time the way how the Indian society was set up. Okay, so the Varna basically means the four categories of social division: Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Sudra. Okay, so ashrama means the four different stages in life: brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. Okay, so there are these four categories in the varna and ashrama each. So, and this Ashtavakra told Janaka that he does not belong to any of these four categories. So one more thing he said, the Vedic seers, all their masters or, sages, they are the courageous people to say that the system which they themselves have created is not sufficient. Isn't it cool? See, all these systems was created by enlightened masters. Okay, then you say, why they create these caste systems and all this, community or categorization? See, it serves the purpose of the society at that time. Okay, so basically, so all these Vedic rishis are the most modern-minded people in the sense that they for certain order and certain evolution of the consciousness, they have set it up in this way. But they say they don't get bogged down or pigeonholed by this community or they've been set up. They are meant as like a stepping stone or a jumping board for you to evolve. Okay, so next slide. I'm going to later on draw a parallel in our modern society. Okay, so like for instance, with the internet, most knowledge and information is free, right? Anyone can access information, comment on that information, discuss the information with other interested party, ultimately update information. Successful like CEOs, those big honchos, right? Big honchos in the leaders, movers and shakers in the society, in corporation, share the philosophy that knowledge is free and disseminate it freely within their organization and within with their customers. This is not to say that patents and trademarks have disappeared, but the most visionary and of executives recognize that it is in everyone's best interest for them to publicly share their knowledge and allow more and more people to improve upon it and share it. As a result, everyone will end up with a better product with the company, and their company will flourish. So that is the kind of understanding, okay, from how by sharing of the knowledge, the entire collective humanity is improved. Right? Next slide. So he said that the system based on knowledge and attitude, not on birth. So Ashtavakra is a great rishi. Understand? He said that he's not speaking today. He spoke for, he spoke 10,000 years ago. At least 10,000 years ago, Ashtavakra happened. And this book was written at least 5,000 years before the Bhagavad Gita. So Gita came after Ashtavakra. Please understand? It means this book is older than Gita, Krishna, which itself is at least 5,000 years old. Okay? So 10,000 years ago, he boldly declaring, you're not Brahmana. You don't belong to any other community. You are beyond all those things. Okay? So note this one interesting thing in this conversation between Ashtavakra and King Janaka. See, when Ashtavakra addresses Janaka, he should have said, you're not Kshatriya. Kshatriya is the warrior clan, the protector of the country, or, like a king, with, the protector of, like a position of the king is normally a Kshatriya. You're supposed to fight for the people and protect the country, right? But he said, no, you're not a Brahmana, he said. You're not even Kshatriya, the warrior class, right? So Janaka is a king. Because as a king, he's supposed to protect the country and his people, right? But Ashtavakra said, you are not Brahmana. How can he say you are not Brahmana? Brahmana is the people who give knowledge, enlightenment, right? So the intellectual class, right? Intellectual clan. Why does that mean? Okay, why is he trying to do it? It means that in those days, the community system is based on knowledge, not on birth. Understand? A lot of people think that, when you're born in this clan or this community, you're destined forever to belong to that. Like some of them say, they're the lower caste, right? The lower caste in the system, and you're gone forever. No. See, those enlightened beings, when they set up this system, okay, it's not based on the birth. Your birth does not decide your future. It is your knowledge. That's why Vedic tradition is a knowledge-based civilization. How much you know would determine, you may be born as a lower caste, but because you are a seeker, you give knowledge, you will, by the nature of your seeking, you can become Brahmana. It doesn't mean that you have to be a Sudra. Sudra means the one who only give time, a worker. Okay, so that's not defined by your birth. Next slide. Okay, so let's look at the different Vana. Okay, so a person who is mostly time to share belongs to the worker class called Sudra. Okay, the Sudra are the one who can enrich the world with time. That means time with the hands and legs. Okay, a person who has intelligence and create some products with his time and share with this product are called Vaishya, the business people who manufacture products and sell to people, right? They belong to the business class. And then the person who has confidence and share the confidence with others and give a sense of security, they're called the Kshatriya. They are the people who rules, right? So the king, the warrior, they are the Kshatriya group. And of course, the last group, the Brahmana, is a person who has knowledge, spiritual wisdom, who shares that with society is called Brahmana. So when many of us who did the Paramashiva Gana project that time, a few years back in 2021, right? 2021, 2 years ago. We basically did this project, and Swamiji said that to become Brahmana, you have to share this knowledge. So these are the 4 categories of we call it the Varna. In terms of, it's determined by your knowledge, how much you share knowledge, and whether you belong to Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra. Okay, and what you enrich the world with. So the next categorization, next slide, is based on life stages. Shankari, can you go to the next slide? Okay, so there are also 4 life stages. One is Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Okay, now the earlier one, 4 categories, is based on knowledge. Okay, how much you enrich the world with spiritual knowledge. This one is based on your life stage. See, at birth till, let's say, 21 to 25, okay, normally people consider that time you're a student. A student, you learn from guru, you learn from, in the guru curriculum, in those days. So they are a student called Brahmacharya, okay, at the stage of as a student. Then after that, you get married for people who decided to become householder. Okay, so Grihastha, they get married and enrich the world, and take care of the family, ensure the continuity of their genes, that means they have kids and all that. And then the next one, after maybe 40 or so, they will start to withdraw themselves from the society, start the state of Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha literally means going to the deep forest, okay? In Sanskrit means for couples, as they finish their duties as a householder, they will withdraw themselves. That means they will start to relinquish their involvement in the society, and then start to turn their energy inwards to prepare the body for the last stage, which is sannyasa, okay, which is enlightenment, become a renunciate, okay. So these are the 4 stages. So from Vanaprastha normally starts about 40 till, let's say, 60, that period. This is the period where you start to withdraw yourself from society, but you contribute to the society by enriching with your knowledge, because by then you're accumulated a knowledge, and the level of involvement is very different when you're Grihastha. In your Grihastha, you normally, you whether you have a business or you work for people, you are, you raise the family. So it's very different life stage, okay? And of course, the last stage is 60 and above, which is the sannyasa, which means you literally live like a sannyasi, like a, like a monk or nun, devoting your life, giving your life, serving the divine. Okay, so this is how the 4 life stages happened in the Vedic tradition. Okay, my Vanaprastha started at age 40. It just happened. Okay, okay, so King Janaka was sharing his wisdom, right? He's more or less like a yogi. I already told you he's a very, very wise king in the first session. He's not ordinary king, right? Who's like only fight and conquer, like a barbarian, that kind of, he's not that kind of king. This king is a living yogi, and he's very wise, okay? So he's ruling the whole kingdom as a yogi, not as a king, okay? This is why Ashtavakra says, you are not a Brahmana, because he shared the knowledge of enlightenment. That's why he called him Brahmana, not Kshatriya. So, nor you belong to any of the castes or any ashrama. You are neither Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or the 4th category, nor you are Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasa. That means he's beyond all this society categorization. You do not belong to any of these 4 categories. You do not belong to the 4 ashrama or the 4 vana. You are beyond all these things. Okay? So let's pause for a while. In our modern society, we are given many labels as well. Correct? We are an employee, or we are a business owner. We are a mother. We are a father. We are all these different labels that we get from society. Okay, So Ashtavakra is telling you whatever labors you have right now, they are not you. You're beyond all these labors. Okay? Because with the different labors, it comes with different bondage, different expectation from society. So when you free yourself from all this so-called categorization by society, immediately you will see a lot of energy get free up. When you unclutch from all these labors, expectation, you suddenly feel so light. Okay, so today you're going to list down what are the labors you have later on. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is in the context of the society at that time when King Janaka was asking for this truth, right? It was set up by the enlightened master, the 4 varnas and the 4 ashrama. But of course, right now, in our modern world, it's not really relevant anymore. But let's map it to our modern time categorization and community we belong to. I'm not, I'm not just Chinese, right? So people think that, oh, I'm Chinese. Because when you start unclutching from all these different categorization and community, what happened is, you need to understand, first, planet Earth, okay? You are a resident, a citizen on planet Earth. But because of country you're born, or the community you're born, you pigeonhole yourself in some way. Oh, I'm a Cantonese, I'm a Hokkien, I'm a Singaporean, I'm a Hong Konger, I'm a Chinese, I'm a Malay, I'm an Indian. All this categorization, okay, which is what is happening in our modern world. They come with certain so-called layers and layers of patterns, beliefs, and karma. So you're going to almost unclutch from the karma of the country, the karma of your family, the karma of what you think as you. Do you understand? All the different layers, you're going to remove it. You're going to unclutch from it. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Okay? I'm stripping layer and layer of what you cover yourself and what you think yourself as. Okay? Even you thinking that I'm a teacher is another layer of conditioning, labels. Even you think yourself as, oh, I'm a cancer survivor, or I'm a survivor of, let's say, someone depressed, and I help someone depressed or suicide survivor, all the categorization you put yourself in, you're beyond that. So you need to liberate yourself from all that. You need to unclutch yourself from all that. Because of all this association, you're clutched to a pseudo identity. You understand? A pseudo identity that make you suffer. Weigh your possibility down and suffocate you. Okay? So the first instruction that Ashtavakra told us is, you don't belong to any of this society conditioning. Okay? That's the first statement he made. You're beyond Brahmana, you're beyond all this. Okay, so first we need to recognize that we're beyond all this. Even for modern day, whatever you think as your labors, you're beyond all this. Okay, whether you are middle class, you are lower class, or you are upper class, all these are all society labors only. Whether you are skin color or race, all again labors only. Whether you are you're executive or manager, you are a business owner, also labors only. All these labors, you're going to throw them out in the unclutching later on. Okay, now then he says the next truth. Okay, you're not visible to the eyes. You say, huh? You can see me, or how come you're not visible to the eyes? So listen, why he say that? See, if I tell you that you're not visible to the eyes, you will tell me, go and have eye checkup, right? Something wrong with your eye. You can't see me, is it? Are you blind? So, Swamiji want to share this very small incident which make it possible for you to understand what Ashtavakra is saying to Janaka. See, he said one of our devotees, Swamiji was narrating this story, was trying to write my biography, okay? In the earlier days, I think I know this guy. He was trying to write Swamiji's biography on his behalf. So he has listened to Swamiji talk in many, many different occasions, different incidents from his life. And he collected them, okay, all the different interesting bits and pieces, he's put them together. So he's done a very nice job, Swamiji said that. In that last 2.5 years from January 2003, when he started his public life. So this person, this devotee, been collecting, going through all the 3,000 DVDs. At that time, we don't have all this digital thing. It's all used on recorded DVDs and videos, okay? So he patiently plowed through all this recorded video and collected many, many of Swamiji's satsangs, discourses, incidents that he spoke about, okay, that he shared in the public satsang discourses. So the biggest problem for him is that he tried to write all this incident, but he just collected chronologically. Okay, this thing happened in when, this thing happened in when. So he was trying to align by timeline, okay, which is logical to the mind, right? How, when it happened, all this. But then he said that one should conclude that I should be at least 60 years old, okay, because of so much happening in Swamiji's life. He think that, how come? But you're only not yet even 30s. He's very young master. I said, how is it possible? He was trying to ask Swamiji, when with all this, it seems like so much has happened in your life, but you're barely only 30 years old. How is it possible? He was not able to comprehend. Okay, next slide. Okay, so here Ashtavakra says you're not visible to us because you're beyond everything. All you can do is one thing. The moment you see the reflection, the moment you you're awed by to see the masters and wonder how much a being can happen, right? Wonder how such a thing can happen to a master. How can he achieve so much within such a short span of time that it is humanly impossible? How can a human being, achieve so much in such a short span of time? Then your intelligence should start working and ask, where is it happening? You should question, where is it happening? How is it able to do it so much within such a short span of time? So the sutra says, unattached, formless, and witness of all are you. So when you're unattached, that means you're unclutched. You're formless and you are witness. You're beyond this body. You're beyond this mind, which you think as you. You're formless. You're unattached. You're the energy, okay? So unattached is a beautiful word he's trying to make us understand. Because Ashtavakra says, you are unattached. What do you mean by unattached? How can you be unattached? This is the next part we need to decode, okay? He said, Swamiji said you're unattached, you say you're unclutched. Don't just start believing you're unclutched, you're unattached. Go and drill. Understand, how can you be unattached? What do you mean by unattached? Do you understand? That's what I'm saying when you do have the questioning, discernment of the logic, the intelligence. When you start drilling yourself, churning yourself, you will reach the source. So now he said, when the truth is given to you, you're unattached. Don't just accept it. Start drilling. Start working on how to realize this state. When the master say the truth, how to realize it within your own body as your experience. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, so now we need to go and find out what is the experience of being unattached. Okay, next slide. So, how we become attached, clutch. He said guilt. Guilt is the creator of the pain shell. You see, by our very nature, we are unattached, we are unclutched. We are just a weakness of everything. Okay? So all your habits, all your activities, all your thoughts are disconnected, unclutched, individual incident. However, by carrying guilt, pain, suffering, fear, worry, all these negative emotions about the habit, you make a shaft of thoughts that would otherwise not be there. You created a pain shaft. It means like a chain, you bind yourself and start suffocating yourself and start suffering. Okay? So each and every statement or thought that is happening in your mind is completely unclutched. But unfortunately, you're not aware. You connect all these thoughts and connect them and form a belief. I am like this. I am afraid. I am useless. I cannot, do this. It is too difficult for me. I cannot change. This is who I am. Okay? All these things you basically, they are independent incidences and independent experiences. But unfortunately, you judge, you connect and start categorize yourself into some form of ideas, wrong cognition about you, or even about people, or the world. Okay? So basically, he said you do not need to work for unclutching. Just do not clutch. Do not create a shaft. So the first step to realize that you are not visible to the eyes is to return to the state as energy form, as consciousness, right? But first thing you need to undo is remove all the guilt. The guilt, see, when you have all this community, societal conditioning and all this, okay, so what happened? There's these rules, right and wrong. If you don't do this, you're wrong. If you don't do this, you get what you call that, looked upon by society in some way. So that kind of thing create guilt in you. Let's say you're supposed to be expected as an employee, and you're supposed to do this, but you didn't do, right? So it creates certain guilt in you. And then also as a mother, let's say for instance, society expect you as a mother to do something for your child, but you don't do that, and you had this burden that says, okay, if I don't, help my child in some way, you create certain guilt in you, right? So all these different ways that the society operate invariably create guilt in us when you're not aware. When you start connecting all these independent incidences and thoughts and create a clutch, a shaft, a pain shaft, this is where you start the whole life of suffering. Okay, you start the life of suffering or start the life of what I call it, human being. From the energy, you become a human being, matter. Okay, so next slide. So the next thing is very important. Okay, this is like a microscopic laser beam that you are going to shine inside your consciousness, inside your inner space. Be aware of the words you use inside you. How many of you suffer from this thing only? Raise your hand. The way you talk to yourself, you beat yourself all the time. This is what you're going to dig today, okay? This is what the start of all the suffering. What words you use and repeat again and again in your life will become the reality in your life. This is the truth Swamiji says. See, he said, I always tell people, when they want to get rid of some disease, never repeat the name of the disease. Like, for instance, I want to get rid of my headache, or I want to get rid of cancer, for instance. Don't say, let me get rid of the cancer. The minute you declare the word, you're giving energy to the word cancer, right? No, say, let me become healthy. I should become healthy. Okay? So your words, and learn to think and learn how to create the right words in you is intelligence. Okay? Because sometimes I've seen a lot of people, they talk to themselves in a very, very punishing way, very hard way, very, I would say, literally they are very hard on themselves. Okay, so the word which you speak when you are speaking to yourself when you are alone should be proper words. They should be the right words. Otherwise, you'll be constantly hurting yourself and you'll be torturing yourself. How many of you can relate what I'm talking about? How many of you felt that you have already been tortured yourself for enough, right? So this is the way out of all the societal conditioning, because how we talk to yourself is from society. Okay, society builds certain ideas and certain expectation of you, and when you don't meet the expectation, and then you start talking to yourself in a very negative way, very punishing way. Like you take the weight and you keep beating yourself. So how can you say this? How can I do this? Like you keep beating yourself up. And then after that, you feel depressed and you feel low mood, and you don't have you give up on yourself, right? So in today's session, you're going to unclutch from these 3 layers. Okay, so listen carefully. 1, what labels you give to yourself, which you clutch to yourself. Oh, I'm XYZ. I'm a business owner, I'm a mother, I'm whatever, that you feel so clutched, okay? So this is the first layer of unclutching. The second is the guilt that comes from all these labors. What guilt you carry that you didn't do, or you feel that you should have done, that you're not able to forgive yourself. See, guilt is nothing but a sure killer of your intelligence. How much intelligence you have when you have guilt, gone. Your intelligence is gone. Okay, Somji say that guilt means you're viewing your past using your updated intelligence. Means what? When that incident happened, you decided or you acted based on your intelligence at the time. Okay, you make some decision and you executed it, and it became an outcome. But after that, you go and review that incident. You feel you're not able to accept your decision you made. You feel guilty. You say you shouldn't have done that. I should have done that. That kind of thing. Which means what? You are viewing your past using your updated intelligence, which is silly. You're wasting your time. Why are you killing yourself by seeing the past using your updated intelligence? All you need to do is, yes, there was a time I made this decision. Let me learn the lesson which I missed at that time and become wiser. And so that I don't make the same mistake twice. If you make the same mistake again, which means you have not learned the lesson. If you come out only making one time that mistake, that means you have gone wiser, you have gained the wisdom not to repeat that silly mistake again. Okay? So the whole point to get out of guilt is learn the lesson and move on. Have the intelligence not to create the same shit again. I call it shit because it's really shit. Okay? Don't create the same shit again and again. Use your intelligence to get out once and for all. Okay? So then the third layer of unclutching is, what are the words you use inside you? Okay, what kind of words you inside you talk to yourself? Many times you talk to yourself in a very, very life negative way. You torture yourself, making yourself so small. From the state of Paramashiva, formless, all-knowing, all-powerful. This is the true you, the real you. But you have reduced yourself to something smaller than your true self. Correct? You forgot your Paramashiva. You only feel that I'm this so and so. How can I do this? No. So inside yourself, you keep blaming yourself. You keep criticizing yourself. You keep torturing yourself by all this, non-acceptance of self. The self you think as you're not able to accept. And that starts a whole struggle inside you. That starts the depression. Means what? you're not able to love yourself as you are. You're not able to be who you are. You're trying to create a tension within you because you're not able to accept you. This tension will lead to all kind of diseases in your body. Okay, either it's psychological disorder of organ, some kind of organ problem, right? Some kind of health issue. When your mind is disturbed by all this clutching, conditioning by society, you end up in a sick mind and a sick body. Okay, so now I'm going to strip all this out from you through this process. Next slide. Okay, so each and every statement or thought that is happening in your mind is completely unclutched. Your mind is just a random, thought. Is just pop out anything. Don't just get frightened. Oh, how come I have this kind of thought? Oh, this is terrible. I know some of you feel like suddenly you had this dirty thought. They say, why am I even thinking this? How can I be thinking this? This is terrible. I've already, changed my life, and how come suddenly I have this thought? And you start thinking guilty. How can I have this thought? Your mind is like this. It just pop out. Why are you, torturing yourself? Your mind is such an irresponsible, crazy fella. But you get worked up and frightened by what this fella is showing you. No, right? And then you start judging yourself. How can I be like this? How can I do this? This is terrible, right? So don't do that, because your mind is the irresponsible fella. Don't trust the fella and start beating yourself up. Okay, so you don't need to work for unclutching. All you need to do is don't create all this pain shaft in you. Because of your memory of pain or pleasure, you think that you have a constant mind, a continuous thought flow. You do not have to practice renunciation. See, by our very nature, we are unclutched. We renounce everything, every moment. But because of the mind clutching, we start to become bound as an embodied soul. Okay, next slide. So he said that you're not needed to run your life. That means the you. Okay, what you think as you, your pseudo identity. See, your constant psychological planning, worrying, fear, greed, all that is part of the programming by society. Whatever you think as you, being created by the society's conditioning. It is not needed to run your life. Okay, your very automatic intelligence is more than enough to sustain you, to make you live your life. So if you think that unless you carry this identity, whether it's a mother, as so and so in a society, you cannot protect yourself. No, that identity which you carry does not really exist. It is just created by the society and created by your mind. So understand one thing: we all have this automatic intelligence which can run our lives. The consciousness that can run our life, which can take care of our day-to-day life. If you trust that, if you are able to let go and trust that intelligence, you will simply fly. Okay, next slide. Swamiji say, simply let go, you will fly. You will simply fly as consciousness. Understand this moment that you are unattached, you are unclutched. So if you feel I'm getting tortured at this moment, try to understand it is the thought that is torturing you, that's all. The thought, which means the mind, right? The mind is making you torture. Whether people who are having depression, come on, these people who are having depression, why they are being tortured? It's the creation, the fabric of creation of the mind, their own mind. So do not believe it, you will come back. By believing you will come back, the belief itself will bring it back. Okay? So learning to let go, because sometimes people carry the belief, or you will come back again, have the fear that you will come back again and haunt me. That fear again will bring that thing back. Okay? because you've given energy, life to that fear. So you come back. Same thing, if you fear that your cancer is going to come back, you give energy to that fear, okay, the cancer relax. So don't carry that fear or that idea or belief, because whatever you believe, you manifest only, according to Swamiji, right? So here Ashtavakra says, you are unattached. Just understand there is no such thing as continuity between one thought to another thought. You are unattached now. Okay? From now, you can be free. Next slide. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to write these 3 things which I spoke. The perceived social status, labels you are clutched on. Write it down. That you feel that it's a load or burden on you. Okay? Second, all the negative words you speak to yourself, you use inside you. How you speak to yourself. There's a second thing, and all kinds of guilt you carry continuously. What makes you feel guilty? These are the 3 things you're going to have to unclutch today. Write it down now. I give you 5 minutes to write it. You don't have to write grandmother's story, okay? Just pen it in bullet point. What kind of, social status by this modern society where you're living is expecting from you, which you feel burdened. You feel that you're not able to breathe or feel very tired of maintaining that status or the labels. Okay? Write it down. Please do this part properly. Then when you unclutch, you will understand what Ashtavakra says as you are not visible to the eyes. You can only taste that state when you remove all these layers of clutching. See, when I did this unclutching with this understanding, okay, I tell you what is the experience. You will go beyond this body awareness, and you just suddenly fall into this space where you're like you're just like this feeling that you exist, and you like just seeing things with a pair of eyes, and you're just watching, just a witness to everything. That is the state as consciousness. You feel that you are just a witness to everything. Okay? So that's why he said you're not visible to the eyes, beyond this embodied form. So start removing all this, you will get that state. You'll return to that state.
What is perceived social status?
All the labels you carry. You are a mother, you're a daughter, you're a Chinese, you're a wife, all the labels given by society. Even you're a devotee, also one more label. Okay? Because you have certain, you may carry some kind of struggle being a devotee, right? Even a devotee is also a label, or disciple is also a label. Okay? So I'm asking you to unclutch from all these things. Get back to the original form. Okay? Please write it down sincerely, okay? I tell you, this unclutching is going to be so powerful. You literally feel that you can fly. So see how many of you are able to fly with me later on. This morning when I sat with this understanding, I saw Kalabhairava. I was able to see Kalabhairava, and I heard also from Devi. she gave me message. I was able to connect with Kala Bhairava beyond time and space. And then after that, I heard Devi. She was, giving me certain message. So it was quite nice. So,
what are some examples of guilt?
Guilt. Okay.
Why never watch that?
Okay, I give you one example of my example, okay? I give you one example, okay? I give you one example. No fighting here, okay? Listen. See, I lost a lot of money in foolish decision, okay? Could be due to guilt, greed, or it could be due to some kind of wrong decision. Like, see, when I was working in Nokia, I was given some shares, okay? And I didn't want to sell it. And then I've forgotten that after I left the company, I should get rid of the option. I forgot about that. I think that, well, maybe the price will go up. And in the end, after I left, don't know X number of months, the whole thing just got wiped out. I lost the whole entire sum of money was given to me as an option.
Should be a lot.
A lot. So don't. That was like, I felt guilty for a period of time.
That's more day-to-day guilt.
Regret and guilt are the same, okay? They are the same.
How about day-to-day?
Day-to-day one, yes. Like what you should have done for your child, but you didn't do it. If you're guilty about it.
I should have done A, B, C, D, X number of things, but I did not do any of it.
Yeah, so like all this kind of thing, right? So there are many guilt that we carry because your expectation and versus what you did, the gap. Okay, so write it down quickly.
Don't collapse.
Okay, so those that you remember, the guilt, just write it down. Those you don't remember, okay, it's not significant. You don't have to bang your head to try to remember everything, okay? Whatever pops up at this moment, we will unclutch from those, okay? You ready? We're going to start in 1 more minute on the unclutching process, okay? So write it down sincerely, because only when you vomit out all these impurities, I call that impurities, or the dust that you accumulated in your being. Your being is covered now by layers and layers of dust. I'm dusting away for you, through the unclutching process, by Ashtavakra Gita's Truth and the Truth Review by Swamiji. Okay, so let's get get going with the dusting now. Shake yourself up, unclutch yourself from all the dust and impurities that you you have put on over the years in your being. You have the IBAN? You have?
There's iPad outside.
Yeah, go and get the IBAN. So all of you, please get ready if you're still writing. See, whatever you feel burdened, tortured, whether in the society labors, write it down, because this is where you feel not as a free being. These are the pain sharp created. Okay? Even as a devotee or as a disciple, sometimes we tie ourselves because of the structure that sometimes how people manage it and all this kind of thing, right? So you need to learn how to unclutch from that also and be able to operate even in a sangha. Okay, even in a sangha, if you clutch to certain thing, you also create the same pain sharp. So how to unclutch from that so that you can live like as Paramashiva and operate like him and totally free and highly productive and highly creative. Okay, you all ready? Shall we get started? All of you, give me a thumbs up. You are ready? Especially for Anandyata and Maheshwari. The second part, the words you speak to yourself. Please write all of them down. Okay? How you talk to yourself. All that. All the scolding words you tell yourself. Okay, so all of you, please put on an eyeband. After you've written, just take one final look what you have written, and then we're going to start the process of unclutching. So let me see. Hey, Mahapucharita, are you back? Good. So all of you, please settle down. Put on the eyeband. All right. So settle yourself in any comfortable meditative posture. You can sit in Padmasana if you feel comfortable. That's what I do every morning after yoga. I sit in Padmasana. Depending on how long I have time, sometimes I sit in one energy cycle or two energy cycle between 21 minutes to 42 minutes. So align the whole posture. Keep the spine straight. Wear the eyeband. Put on the eyeband right now. And begin to breathe very slowly and deeply. Just fall into the space of restful awareness. Become aware. Only when you're aware, you can do the unclutching. When you are unconscious, when you are unaware, you cannot do unclutching. Okay? So the breath is the key to fall to the present moment. The present moment is where you become aware. Get to the space of awareness first. Take a few minutes to establish in restful awareness. Now, start unclutching from the layers and layers of dust you accumulated all these years. Those clutches that you built, the pain shaft or the joy shaft that you created. See, whether it's pain shaft or joy shaft, pain shaft you try to avoid it, joy shaft you try to extend it. But both do not exist. Both are myth. They are from the mind. Anything you created from the mind, they don't have existential reality. They are just fabric of your imagination, thoughts. So start unclutching from all those chained. How many layers of change you tie yourself? Now start breaking free from all these layers and layers of change you built by the societal conditioning. Whether it's from parents, whether it's from school, whether it's from media, from society, from peers, anywhere. And start drill down to the source of who you are. You are invisible to the eyes. Get to the space of invisibility as consciousness, as the unclutched energy, being. Start healing yourself through this unclutching process. Keep the body straight and still. Lock the body. Any thought that comes to the inner space, relax from it. Get back to that unclutched space. All right, relaxed from all the unclutching. Settle yourself back to this body awareness, breath awareness. Whenever you're ready, you can remove the eye band. So, how was the unclutching? 21 minutes, one energy cycle. I could have go on for longer, but I guess we'd run out of time into this session. You can do it at your own time every morning after yoga. Just sit with yourself, or even at night time before sleep, just sit and do the same thing. So anyone want to share?
Suddenly I had a realization.
Well, what is that?
I thought I'm my mom's son, so I treat my mom well. I suddenly thought, if I'm just like defined based on the place I'm born, and if other people give birth to me, then I'm also their son. So suddenly this attachment and this only treating one as a particular, treating it differently, so just
Disappear.
just disappear. Other people's just suddenly I had this realization.
Good. You clutch to that responsibility.
Very much.
So it's one load off the chest.
Yes.
So maybe many of you are still processing what is happening inside you. Did anyone of you feel that you are invisible to the eyes? Get that space of you're invisible to the eyes. You're unattached.
If I sit longer, maybe.
Yeah, you will get there at some point in time. So do it on your own also. Don't just, come only once a week and do it. The whole point is to impart this knowledge and this so-called muscle biomemory, and you can sit with yourself and do it continuously. Okay? So if nobody want to share, let me just see somebody type something right now. Can listen more deep negative words in meditation that without right before. Yes, now you can hear all the deep words you talk to yourself, horrible words you talk to yourself, those things that you use to beat yourself up and hate yourself. See, all this talking to yourself is the start of why you hate yourself or you carry guilt. You're not able to accept yourself. You need to get out of that. Because that's what society make us do only by having all this guilt and all this, forgetting the true you, they can control you. You can be controlled by external forces. When you unclutch more this, you realize you fall back into intelligence and you just be, not only wiser, powerful, creative, as per Paramashiva. So I like all of you to share in a group your personal experience. Maybe it takes some time to decode or gather your words, your verbalization. So I think we're gone past, the time. Let me just end with the Puna mantra. Okay. So thank you all for joining. Please come back again next week. I think I will have to do more than 4 sessions because I didn't realize that there's so much deeper layer of truth. So I may have to extend a few more sessions to cover the whole entire book. So let's conclude with a deep gratitude to Ashtavakra, Swamiji, and all of you for taking the time to learn this sacred knowledge. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsat Sarvam Bhagavad Shri Nithyananda Paramashiva Parta Paramastu Om Nithyanandam. Thank you, Nithyanandam. You can stop the sharing. And that's live stream. All right. Oh, Nicholas, finally he joined. Good. I hope we didn't miss too much. All right, so please share your experiences in the group. So, Jerry Shataka, you can also stop the live stream. Thank you. Nithyanandam.